Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pontiac Power Hour. We are in episode 23 of our show, and we got a special guest tonight. So, for all you guys in the chat, I'm Buff from Buff's Garage, and over here
is Ray from Punisher Lamont's Garage.
And I'm going to check out the chat real quick. We got an early arriver, Mr. Danny Boyd. Let's see. Auto Salvage Outlaws in the chat. Cousin Mike's over here. We got Chucky's Garage. Watch out for that guy. He's really close to 200, and he needs that 500 to get to No Name Nationals.
Well, he blew up his car, though.
Well, but he's on the hunt. Maybe he'll get a free car. Everybody else is getting free cars.
Maybe.
Hunter. I don't know if he's signed up yet. I'm going to have to find out.
He better.
Let's see. Tim Windsor, thank you, sir, as always, supporting the channel and the show. And I saw Colleen Tebow, Mongrels from Canada. It's just as cold as Canada down here right now. Let's see. Mr. Polo C4, thanks for being a channel member. 38 POS Racing. Who else? Are we missing anybody?
Torque Racing Productions.
Oh, awesome.
You got Roland in here. Your Pontiac Garage.
Jay from Irish Outlaw Garage. And after the show, I've got a redirect set up to head over to his Cars and Cussin' live right after our show.
Well, we got Dakota's Timeout and the world famous Mr. John Wilburn.
Whoa, John Wilburn in the chat. I see Mohawk 62, Jason's Garage. Fox Can Fix It, and they are just pouring in. Guys, if I didn't catch it.
Wrenches.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Dudes, I thought there were free cars in your lot, honestly. Can we just come pick some up? I'm sure the city wouldn't mind.
He'd probably give you a Grand Prix.
Not the good one, I'm sure. Speaking of Grand Prix, our guest tonight is Grant from Straight Six Band, whose newest project is a 79 Pontiac Grand Prix. So let's welcome him in.
Hey,
hello,
guys.
Grant.
How's it going?
To the show, sir.
Josh, Ray, thanks for having me.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I just saw NSB roll in. And something garage.
Good crowd tonight.
And truck experience.
Oh, yeah. So I actually, I'm going to take a minute to talk about those guys. So Ugly Truck Experience is over in Missouri, and they do a lot, and I'm talking a lot of LS swaps. So they have all kinds of different tips and tricks and things. You can go watch it on their channel. They're very responsive on social media and through messaging. If you've got questions about an LS swap, that's the guys you talk to. And yes, I know, Pontiac Power, we don't want to talk about LS swaps, but these guys have that information, and they're a great resource, and they're a fellow channel just like the rest of us. So, all right. So, Grant, we know that you have a pretty strong channel. You were part of a live show, and you got a Pontiac project. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so it sounds like I'm checking all the boxes for you guys. Well, first off, so that's great to hear. Ugly Truck Experience is next door in Missouri. So I guess shameless self-plug, he should look up Central States Automotive YouTubers on Facebook and join that group. But yeah, no, I'm Grant Tommy. I'm Straight Six Fan here on YouTube. And a lot of people always ask me about my channel name and where it came from. And it's actually like born out of my first vehicle in high school. I had a 95 Ford F-150, and it had the 4.9 liter inline six. And so as high school kids do circa 2002, 2003, and you make up your own screen names, Straight Six Fan was just one from way back when. And at some point you get sick and tired of creating a new screen name for everything. So I just picked one to roll with. So if you see me on eBay, you see me on like a ton of places, it's straight 6-fan. And I guess what I've adapted that to mean here with my channel is that it's what I like to call offbeat hot rodding. It was like I don't want to sound like ungrateful because my parents bought me my car, but like as a high schooler, when you thought you were gonna get like maybe a cool like '69 Dodge Swinger Dart that you were gonna fix up and build or something, and then you wind up with a 4.9 liter inline six, it just became this like build what you got mentality and make
Yep.
it the coolest you can. And so I've always kind of just gravitated towards, you know what, we're just gonna make things that most people will leave for dead, like my '79 Grand Prix. Why not find some things that are a little bit off and roll with them?
Absolutely. And I will say that I've been watching you for quite a while, so I've actually seen the truck and the straight six and all of the work you've been doing on that. Of course, you had a non-Pontiac car you were working on, and now you have a Pontiac car that looks similar to the non-Pontiac car. But
Yeah.
It's a lot of cool tips and tricks you've got to kind of do it out of your garage and restore the stuff yourself.
Yeah, and so you're talking about my '78 Ford Fairmont, which I sold to then finance the Grand Prix. And a lot of people, like, it's funny when I'm ready to, like, I'm sort of like flipping the cars. I'm not building the car for keeps right now because I've got raw skills. This is my second project car. The Fairmont was my first, and so I did a GT40P head swap on that car, something I'd never done before. So the other like objective of my channel is to like help show people like, hey, if I can do it, most likely you can do it too, because I'm doing all these things for the first time. And so I remember when I was about to sell the Fairmont and everybody was asking like, okay, so what's next? What's next? What are you going to get next? You know, everybody wants to vicariously live through you. You guys probably can relate to that.
Oh yeah.
And I was always just like, look, it's whatever the market's going to give me. Like I have a set criteria I'm looking for. Like the body's got to be in good shape. That's the number one thing I'm looking for. It's got to be able to drive itself home. Although I kind of broke that rule on the Grand Prix, but it's so anyway, like that's just what happened to, that's what the market gave me was the '79 Grand Prix. And yes, they both cars happen to be this like weird beige color tan, and we go anywhere from hearing aid beige to prosthetic limb beige. Either of those are acceptable for the car.
Yeah. And what I like about it is, you know, you're taking that stuff that, like you said, otherwise people are just either letting them sit or maybe even throwing them away. I mean, granted, my car was in the scrapyard going to be recycled. But it turns out mine was something people were like, well, I really like that car. And well, it's been sitting for 40 years. You should have got it. And I look at stuff like you have and realize that we're not that far off from that being something desirable. In fact, someone just said in the chat they would love to have that, you know, late 70s, early 80s Grand Prix. They're cool cars.
The funny thing about it is like, so like G bodies are hot right now. And so that's where like that build was appealing. I consider myself, of course, I'm a Ford guy at heart, but I consider myself, generally speaking, like pretty well versed in cars. I don't think I'd ever seen a Grand Prix before, like in G bodies. I knew of the Cutlass, I knew of the Regal, I knew of like, but I didn't know that same Monte Carlo knockoff. I didn't know that was the Grand Prix. I knew of the Grand Ams of the era. Like, I don't think I knew the Grand Prix was the like Monte Carlo G body for Pontiac.
Right, and I remember in high school, everybody was driving those Monte Carlos, and then this chick rolls up in this silver car, and it had these weird like checkerboard pattern wheels on it, and it looked just like a Monte Carlo, but it wasn't, and it was the Grand Prix. I was like, wow, I like that so much better than the Monte Carlos. It just had a different style to it, even though it was basically the same car.
Yeah, and as I've come to like join G-body groups and stuff on Facebook and things, I've become actually a pretty big fan of the, like, I never liked the Aero Monte Carlo, but that 86 Aero Grand Prix, I'm like, it's a really awesome looking car. Like,
it's not like, the Aero. We talked about this. It's the 2+2.
Well, yeah.
I'm not the purist, but that car, I remember they never called it an Aero. They called it a 2+2. And I thought, that's just a weird name for the car.
They're really rare. I've seen one. Actually, I know where there's one at, but the guy won't let it go.
Yeah, he's smart than not.
He's got that, and he's got a 84, 85 Hurst Olds 442 with the lightning rod shifters factory. They wasn't
Oh,
fast,
wow.
but they had lightning rod shifters from the factory.
Look, another free car. I'm all about free cars right now.
Don't let
So-
Kyle from Boosted Boys hear that. He'll probably
Oh, yeah.
scratch that up.
He'll be all over it. Well,
So-
Kyle, if you're watching, free car. Hey, we got Lars in the chat.
Well, hello, sir.
He's just saying hello to everybody.
Dr. Art snuck in.
And
ASO.
Doug Narden.
Actually, if
Cool.
you guys want to highlight some more comments in the chat, I'm going to run to the room next to me and snatch
Yeah.
a drawing real fast, but that's relevant to the discussion, so hold on.
10-4.
Mongrel said lightning rod shifters confuse him. That's because you're from Canada.
Well, because they do everything in communist numbers and letters. We do it in American. Oh, look at that. Dudes with wrenches.
1200-ish. Okay.
Gotta love that guy. He's every bit as knowledgeable, if not more, on Pontiac stuff than our own resident expert, Mr. Sand Mountain Ballistics. I just have to give Hunter some crap. So what'd you bring us, Grant?
Oh, okay. So I did have an episode about this, but I do like to do a good rendering every now and then. So this was sort of my dream for the Grand Prix.
Whoops.
Yeah, there we go. So really wanted to do a custom grill, like a honeycomb grill for it, and the bumper inserts there. Tuck the bumper a little bit, tuck the back bumper, which I'm actually doing right now. And then I think they're US Mags Trans Am wheels are the wheel of choice I'd want to do. But anyway, just thought I'd have this handy if anybody wanted to know what crazy ideas get stuck in my head every so often.
Yeah, see, I like the talent. I used to do a lot of drawings like that when I was younger, and I haven't sat down and made the effort. So now I do everything with cut and paste, and I take cut off wheels and torches and literally cut and paste cars together. And I see it in my head. I don't have the patience to draw it out anymore. But
Yeah,
I saw your vision when you talked about it on your channel. Talked about tucking everything in and just making it clean. I like it a lot.
See, I did that with my bumpers on my Le Mans, but I didn't tuck them in enough. I cut like a half inch out of each side. I was afraid of cutting it in too much.
Looking like a pug instead of, like a Le Mans.
My back bumper still needs to come in some, and now my front bumper is fiberglass, so that's not gonna work. I'm not a fiberglass guy.
Right.
Yeah, I got the rear bumper mocked up yesterday, and it turned out that I took inch and a half total, but 3/4 of an inch out each side, and I was worried the same thing, Jay, about going too far, but I hit it right down the middle. Seems like.
Is yours got aluminum bumpers or are they steel?
So they're steel, but the substructure I think is aluminum.
I wasn't sure because some of those G bodies had aluminum bumpers. I didn't know.
Now, is the 79 still considered a G body or is it A body?
78 was the first year of the G body.
Right, but is that car a G body?
Yes.
So from what I understand, and this comes from our buddy Chad over at Nobody's Show, I don't know how much of this is a joke, but it's like it's basically somebody forgot to do the paperwork. Like a memo was sent out at GM. They knew they were changing the platform enough that they weren't going to be A bodies anymore, but it was like a clerical mistake that they never updated that paperwork wise. Obviously from 78 to 87, like the chassis, you put them side by side, like they're the same thing, but they didn't actually, like on VIN numbers and stuff, I think it was 81, they became G bodies. So it's like this, nobody's
That's what I was
right.
getting at.
Nobody's right, nobody's wrong if you call it either way, the early years.
Yeah.
Okay. I was going.
And I only say that because, we do have some very particular people in our chat. And I remembered that small little window of cars, they're a G body. But if you look at it on paper, like you said, the paper says, no, they're an A body until this date.
Yeah, order A body parts and see if they work.
See, there you go, Danny Boyd.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you also think about it, like the A bodies leading up to like 77, like 73 to 77, completely different chassis, completely different. Like you put the two side by side, like these aren't the same car, right? Like, so anyway, I think it's just that age old. It's everybody's gonna always argue about it for years.
Oh yeah.
What
All
are
right,
you
what did I?
avoiding, Buff?
I don't know. What did I miss?
I don't know.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I found it. Yeah, I can tell you what my Pontiac's going to do. It's going to drive to the event, and it's going to go down the track. And I don't know if that it's capable of doing anything more than that. At this point, it can, drive down the road for a while. But it's definitely not going to keep up with the trash truck. That's supercharged 2.8 liter V6 he's got. Pretty sure my little Grand Prix ain't going to do it.
There will be a Pontiac with the supercharged V6 there, though, that will take on the trash truck, I think.
And that one's got enough weight reduction. It should be able to pretty much smoke anything. As long as you guys got the engine tuned right.
Well, he's having it tuned. There's a Fiero group in Kansas City that this guy, that's all he does is eats, breeds supercharged Fieros. So he's going to.
That's your neck of the woods, right, Grant?
Yeah. I'm just about 30 minutes from downtown. I'd be interested to know who that is because at the company I used to work at, one of our interns, she had to drive her brother's car, and she had car trouble. And then we went to this site visit, and she rolls up in this like pristine blue Fiero, and I'm like, dude, that is so cool. But she hated it because she didn't like driving stick, and so I wonder that they got to be somehow related.
Yeah, I don't know. Logan would know who he is, but he's at work. He's on Facebook. That's how I found him.
Yeah, and that's, I'm telling you, you got a Fiero that was in Breaking Bad, and then we have the Breaking Bad Aztec that's coming. We just have a whole show of cars. I'm saying.
Someone's talking. Hey, Mr. Polo C4, you should join Central States Automotive YouTubers group on Facebook too.
Yep, he has a C4 Corvette, and he just recently joined YouTube as an actual content creator.
So speaking of C4 Corvettes, I'm actually on the hunt for some turbine wheels from like an 84 through 87 C4 for the Grand Prix. But what I need are, so I guess 84, they were all the same offset. They were 8.5s, and then 85 to 87, they went to a staggered offset. And the 9.5-inch wheels won't fit on the old G body. But if you know where any good condition turbine wheels are, Mr. Polo C4,
they're probably on S10 trucks still.
Yeah. I
had Z28 Camaro wheels on mine. Thank you very much.
I've seen like 2 Facebook ads where it's someone selling them off of their S10.
That's where I always seem to see them is on S10s and S10 Blazers.
There's a
they do look good. They remind me of the Typhoon wheels.
There's let me see. I did a Photoshop the other day on the Grand Prix for exactly that. Oh, what do you know? It's the first one up on my.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, that looks cool.
Got skills, man.
So, yeah, it turns out drawing, and I can make a living drawing, I guess.
We'll get you some Adobe Illustrator, and just there you go. You'll be good to go.
So you're not that far from me. I'm in Joplin.
Okay. Well, Punisher, you need to join the group too. So
I will.
the goal
in it. So
the goal of the group.
It's
not super active, but the reason I started it was like one of the best ways to grow on YouTube is collaborations. Yeah. But I'm not going to drive to Ohio to collaborate with somebody, right? So
that's how this show started right here. We collaborated, and now we have a show.
So it was meant to be like a regional, like find YouTubers. I basically put a 6-hour driving radius around Kansas City and said, like, if you fall in here, let's have a group. Let's get together. Let's have get-togethers, and like go to car shows or create like this year. What we're going to try to do in June is create like a mini power tour. There's this like in Tulsa, the Tulsa area. There's like this Model A shop, like they used to produce Model A's for, and it's on Route 66, and drive like basically Springfield to Tulsa, and like maybe like cook out in a park somewhere
Yeah.
at one town, and then or in Springfield. And anyway, we're trying to organize that.
What'd you say it's called? Central what?
Central States Automotive YouTubers.
So
I'm
what
looking
you're
it up while I'm
describing sounds a lot like No Name Nationals. And the reason why
Kind
I
of,
say that,
no drag racing.
right? So No Name Nationals was basically supposed to be a get together of YouTubers that you get together, you have some grilling and hanging out, and then it just kind of evolved from there. So it was a similar concept that before you know it, it's a drag race.
Let me see if I can figure this out. That one?
Yep. That's
Look
the
at
one.
that.
See
Now
if
you
they'll,
guys got to approve each other.
see if they'll let me in.
Yeah.
So everybody in the chat, if you're within that 6-hour radius of Kansas City area, the central states, look that up, join the group. Let's get some posts going, get some new video content and everything flowing through that. I remember when I joined up, it seemed like it had pretty good activity, and then it kind of faded off.
Yeah.
But I have also not been jumping onto my Buff's Garage page as much. I've just been using my regular page, so that's part of my problem.
I'm bad about that too. I was like, man, I haven't posted on my Punisher page in a while.
Yeah,
I'm the same. I'm a less is more guy, like as a consumer, right? I don't want like every app, but if I'm trying to connect with everybody out there who's like me, who only likes one app, well, I need to have all of them. But
right.
I hate having to monitor like 4 or 5 different things.
Me
Right.
too. And
I
I'll
mainly-
do that for a while where I go and I'm watching, of course I'm always watching YouTube, but I'll be watching Facebook and all that for a while. And then TikTok gets my attention for a bit. And then I'm done with TikTok, and then Instagram pops up, and it's like, wow, I've missed a lot of messages. I need to go back and check my messages.
See, I'm real bad about Instagram, and a lot of people's like, you need to get on Instagram. I'm like, I am on Instagram. I post a lot on TikTok because my TikTok page like took off. So I have like almost 8,000 followers on TikTok, but I can't seem to do that on YouTube.
Yeah, I ended up deleting my TikTok account.
My problem with TikTok when I first discovered it was the same as everybody else. Is you'll go, oh, that's kind of funny. That's dumb. That's dumb. That's kind of funny. That's dumb. And then you realize 8 hours has gone by, and you just went, what happened? Where did my day go?
I started TikTok. My wife's like, you need to get TikTok so I can send you this stuff. I'm like, I'm not getting TikTok. I hate it. Well, now I have 8,000 followers on TikTok, and I post on there just about daily. So who knew? Of course, I also told my kids that YouTube was a waste of time, and don't waste all your time on YouTube. And now I have a YouTube channel, and they're all like, oh yeah, that's like, sometimes I'm wrong. It ain't very often, but
right. Well, I look at it as, I try to put my time and effort into the stuff that I want to do, but also is giving me the best return. And people are saying they're posting videos to Facebook, and those videos are getting monetized. And, I've done it a few times just to see what happens, and nothing. But, I'm getting my shorts paid now, and I'm getting my longer form content paid somewhat. It's not great, but it's enough that this is where I'm putting my effort into.
I just can't get my watch hours up. I don't know what's up with that. I'm almost 900 now. I'm like, this is ridiculous. I have like 11 Power Hour lives now, and like a bunch of videos. I don't know.
It takes a while. I just got lucky with a few videos that kind of took off way before I was monetized, and now my watch hours drop all the time. But I was going to mention JB. Yeah, So I am never changing that, and I don't want to hear anything about it. You will always have to open the glove box to fill the transmission fluid. It's just how it's going to be.
That is a one of one vehicle right there.
Right. When it was going down the line at Pontiac, there's like, all right, this one's going to fill in the glove box.
We're going to put this rust hole here so this dipstick tube will go right through it.
It was a small rust hole, which then Richard made a very large hole. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what TikTok's good for. A little bathroom time. Anyway, so let's see.
Yeah, that's probably true there, buddy.
Yeah, we have a little celebrity in there, Dudes with Wrenches. If you haven't watched him, he's broke his 100,000 subs and almost all from shorts. So that's the hard part. But
yeah, it's an amazing what he's been able to do has been pretty amazing. We had him on last season, maybe 2 seasons ago on the Car Guy and Six Fan Show.
Yep, I remember watching that one.
You know, another one, I was looking back through my messages and I was talking to Dalton before No Name Nationals, and he had like 25,000 subscribers then, and he's like knocking on 70,000 now.
That's what happens when you hang out with Kevin.
I know, man. I need to hang out with some different people.
Hey, we're good. We got good guests on.
Yeah, I don't know that I'm helping.
I wasn't meaning you guys. I'm just saying.
If we want to talk Pontiac 3800s, I mean that's basically where I've been stuck at subscriber wise for a long time is 3800. So
yeah. Well, I put the link to Grant's YouTube in the chat. You guys can go check that out and maybe give him a sub or two. Maybe we can talk you into going to No Name and bring in your Pontiac out there. It'll be fun to hang.
Bring plenty of antifreeze on my way down.
So. Well, you don't need it while you're there because they make you run water anyway. So just run or dry, it'll be fine.
I don't think it would pass tech is what I'm saying.
Oh, let me tell you what passed tech last year. It, well, yeah, a lot of cars. I mean, there was one with a carriage bolt holding the drive shaft together. It passed tech.
Grant, I don't know if you've ever seen my channel in my car, but the guys at Tech really liked my car, so they didn't even really look at it, which was a good thing because there was some sketchy shit that they would have seen.
I'd already said if Deke wants to look at my car really close, I'm just going to deflate the air out of it, put it on the ground, and be like, "You can look under it if you want, but you're not going to see anything."
I just ran out of time, and
Didn't
I unloaded my car off the trailer, and I was like, "Oh shit! I didn't weld that down bar all the way around." So in my trunk, my roll bars that went to the back was just welded on the front side. So I made some little patch panels and took some screws out of Buff's trunk. And
he literally stole tech screws out of my car. Well, Chucky, we know where you can find a supercharged one. So just you got their number. And I saw Dr. Art pop in. Welcome. We got Cheryl in here. So many other folks. So, guys, do you have a question for Grant? We've got him here at your disposal. He can answer all of your questions that you have, whether it be straight six, Pontiacs, Fords, whatever. He knows a little bit of all of it. And with your live show, you've interviewed a lot of pretty good people too.
Yeah, the funny thing is, without disclosing who the person was, probably our highest profile guest ever was probably one of our top 3, 4, or 5 worst interviews ever.
Oh, yeah.
That person decided to keep going on their soapbox.
Oh, that does happen.
Yeah.
So
I'm surprised about which one of our guests gets the most views because it's not the ones that you would think, because our Mike Finnegan show did really well.
Yeah, I saw that. You guys, that's awesome.
But then we had Kevin Brown from Junkyard Digs, and that one just blew the roof off of it. So
he's a good interview. We had him on. Like him a lot.
Yeah. I wish that would have been on my channel.
That's all right. You're getting Terry LSX next week.
Well, I had Richard Holdner on my show,
You did.
and it only got 160 views so far.
What?
I know. I'm like, what?
That's crazy. All right. So
He's a cool
Fox
dude to
can
talk
fix
to,
it.
though.
What's your favorite thing on the Grand Prix? I like that. The Grand Prix. That's clever.
I honestly, one of the things I fell in love with the car like right away was just the organization of the gauge pod. Like it feels way more 1969 than 1979 with all the like tiled like individual gauges and stuff. And especially after I got the interior done and I did the carbon fiber vinyl wrap on it, it really made that. I mean, I love it. That's probably my favorite thing.
So if you guys haven't seen his restoration job, he actually pulls this interior apart and he's redoing it all himself, and it turned out amazing. I really like how it looks.
Yeah, I kind of gambled on the since I knew I was going to have to almost refinish everything. It was a smoker's car, and it suffered from the typical, that era of GM plastics, the way it just disintegrates into powder. So I had to nearly sand down every panel anyway, and I was going to have to refinish it. So I kind of took a gamble, and I went with like a camel tan, more like a 1996 GM kind of tan. And then this gray, this medium dark pewter color, and I was like, is this gonna fly together? So I kind of rolled the dice on it, but I think it turned out awesome. I got lucky.
I agree. I think it looks great. So I would have to ask, because I try to ask this of all of our guests, what's your favorite Pontiac besides the one you have currently? If you had to pick one, what would be your favorite? Like something you'd want to really own.
I mean, this is going to be like one of those. This is the cliche answer. Also, I'll give you a cliche answer, and I'll give you the offbeat hot rodding answer, I guess. Well, okay. I was going to say, actually, you know what? I'll dump the cliche answer. It's hard to pass the 77 Trans Am, right? But actually, there's like 73. I actually really like 73 Trans Ams a ton with those. This like the snowflake wheel, not the 77 style. It's more of the like hexagon style.
They are the actual snowflake wheel.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. I knew I was gonna like
probably. The new ones are honeycomb.
There you go.
Yep.
People call them all snowflake wheels, but
right.
But then what's one of those Motor Trend shows? It's the shop down in Texas. I think they're between like Houston and Austin. Iron Resurrection, maybe. Anyway, they had like a 66 Le Mans or something they put on a Roadster shop chassis. It was all blue. Like, that car is pretty awesome. And I don't even know it's or is it a Catalina? I don't know. It's something weird. I don't remember. I just saw that episode like 3 weeks ago, but I love that car.
And Dudes with Wrenches wants to know, when are we going to see more Radio Flyer go-kart?
Oh, well, let's see. Depends on how early I sell the Grand Prix, so I'll need some form of content, but yeah, it needs to get the Rat Rod Radio Flyer go-kart needs to be rebuilt.
Oh yeah. So just from my experience watching Dalton, he'll get something running, driving, make it look okay, and then turn around and take a huge loss selling it to a fellow YouTuber.
Dodge.
But he tried to sell that thing to me like 5 times. I'm like, I finally went ahead and said, yeah, I'll take it. And then somebody else snatched it up for a lot more money. He still took a loss on it. But anyway, yeah, so you could always try that and be broke like the rest of us.
I am at that point in the build where I'm at this like crossroads of knowing how much money I have in it, trying to figure out, do I keep going or just leave it as is, put it up for sale. I mean, G bodies are hot right now, and I think I can get I've been watching the market rate on what these things are going for and kind of know where my car is going to land. I think I've got a good shot at making about a $1,500 profit on it but we'll see.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of car market right now is, especially a classic car, you're going to still get people into them. And what I find interesting is you kind of take one of those cars that you don't typically think is a hot rod or muscle car or anything like that, but you also don't have hot rod or muscle car money. I don't have 30 grand or 50 grand laying around, but you can get into a 79 Grand Prix and you can really do a lot with it. And if you take one and, make it nice looking and make sure it runs well and all that, then somebody could really grab a hold of that at a good price and make it their own.
Well, I'll be curious to get your guys' take, both of yours take on this, because kind of the approach I've been taking is that it's almost like I'm building a car to sell like the roller, but it still is going to have the stock 301. You can drive the thing home,
Right.
Because we were sort of talking about this backstage. Everybody and their mom's going to LS swap or whatever. A lot of people just have a extra junkyard LS laying in their garage that are ready to swap into something. So my approach on the build was like, let's beef up everything around that. Let's not touch the motor at all. So it's going to have a nice interior when you buy my car. It's got a built transmission when you buy my car. It's just ready for someone to just straight up LS swap it, and then you've almost got a complete package. Now it's going to need brakes and suspension and that stuff too, and a set of wheels and tires, unless I find those C4 wheels. But I'm just kind of curious. Do you guys think that's a successful kind of pack?
I'd say so.
I definitely feel like having one that runs and drives is and selling it with the mentality that I'm basically throwing in this engine for free because they're just going to pull it out and swap it. As long as your price range is in that, but I could go pick it up and drive it home and maybe drive it around until I'm ready. And I think that's one of the things that we miss out in hot rod world or car building world is we put it in the shop, we let it sit, it's up on jack stands, and someday we're going to do this and someday we're going to do that. And I literally went to the grocery store the other day and had a guy stop me and talk to me for 20 minutes in the parking lot in the freezing cold about classic cars. And he told me about how he did a 7-year restoration on his 68 Impala, put it on a rotisserie and all this stuff. And I said, so what'd you drive in the meantime? And he points over to his pickup truck, his, normal Ford pickup truck. And I went, yeah, well, I'm still driving the beater. So I'll spend that 7 years and all that money on making it fun and drivable. And you can have your, what do they say, the New Balance and khakis and make your car look pretty. There's nothing wrong with it. They're beautiful, but I want to drive it.
Who was it? Freiberger said, don't get it right, just get it running.
Oh yeah.
I do like that motto. I follow that. I used to worry about getting everything perfect, and then, on my car, it's a pretty nice car if you look at it from a distance, but you really start looking at it, you're like, yeah, that's a little bit.
I've had, cool, I mean, my Trans Am sat for the last 5 years for a reason. Number one, I didn't really want to build an 82 Trans Am. Third gen Trans Am is just not that attractive of a car. I mean, it's getting that way, but it wasn't at the time. And then you add in the fact that I had all these big dreams for what I wanted to do with it. And finally, I just said, I'm going to go really stupid and do a whole bunch of cutting and pasting and making something that doesn't exist. And I'm going to have a running driving car in 200 and some days. Whatever John tells me, he's the one with the orange paper, but
right.
Yeah. And that's just it. How many people have an all-wheel drive third gen Trans Am? Not very many.
Oh man.
Good stuff.
Well, that was what my question was going to be. What was in the Grand Prix? I didn't know if it had a 301 or because they put the V6 in those, and then they had the 301. Which I think.
Yeah, it's a 301 car.
I think the Buick V6 was faster.
Yeah, wouldn't surprise me. This thing's a turd.
Let's put some spray on it. See how it goes.
There's a couple guys who's got their second gen Trans Ams in the 12s with the 301, but throwing a freaking crap ton of money at it. It's like
I was going to say, what are they doing to get to that? Because that's
they just want to show that the 301 can be built, but
I'm on this
Why?
Facebook group. It's like Oddball Pontiac V8 group or something. And yeah, so there's nobody makes heads for those. Nobody like really makes it air as much as an air intake for those things. But I've seen guys like they're putting 400 cranks in these things, and I'm like, dude, just go with a different motor.
Just
I
put
mean,
400 in and call it a day.
It is easier to just go that route. It comes down to what you said. What do you want the car to do? Obviously, everybody talks LS swap, and the reason why is you drop it in, it's cheap, it's fast. You start the car in the coldest of the, winter, and it's got AC in the summer. You literally just drop it in, and you're good to go.
Unless it's
But
on the 85, then you don't start it in the cold weather because mine won't start if it's cold.
if you would do the little thing you said, the one little sensor, you'd be fine.
Yeah, I just need to put a flex fuel sensor on so I can run whatever I want. But right now it's on E85. I tried to start it when it was like 20 below. I was going to do a cold start, and it was like, I'd had to ether it to get it to start.
There you go. Step one, obtain a 301. Step two, shove your entire retirement account into it. Yep, there you go. I knew this was coming. Why was this not sooner? Come on, Hunter. You're slacking, buddy.
So, does your Grand Prix have a 4-barrel on it? Because I had a 301 that had a 4-barrel intake, and it had a 4-barrel carburetor that looked like a 4-barrel carburetor, but it didn't have the back 2 barrels. It was blocked off. It was
blocked off.
Yeah, from the this was factory. I was like, what the hell is going on with this thing?
Yeah, mine's definitely a 2-barrel. So I don't know what you call it, a dual jet. It's not a quadra-jet. So it's a goofy looking thing.
So basically, GM went through a whole lot of trouble to make a 2-barrel carburetor. But I feel it's because the 4-barrel would drown that little POS 301.
Just swimming in its own juice.
Yeah. Man,
I saw something today that said, I took 8 quarts of oil and mixed it with antifreeze because of science.
Yeah, I did that one time too. I had lifted the head on my car when 22 pounds of boost on stock head bolts is about all an LS wants.
So to echo Sand Mountain Ballistics comment, say no to LS swaps. So
yeah,
and since I'm all about offbeat hot rodding, if the Grand Prix doesn't sell at the price I want it to for say 2 or 3 months, I will probably keep the thing and take it to the next level. And my dream swaps is going to be one of the two. It's either going to be a 4200 inline 6 swap and see if I can get some spare parts from Nivlac 57. He's already actually offered me a turbo manifold.
Nice.
But either that or I kind of want to do like a Chevy 4.3 liter and turbocharge it. I'm thinking so if John DeLorean never left Pontiac and he caught wind of what Buick was doing, what would he do to react and one up his?
He's got to step it up for sure.
He would definitely do one line of coke at least before he went to the drawing board. We know that much for sure. But I'm thinking he would probably okay, well, what else do we have in our arsenals? Well, I can do better than 3.8 liters. So,
right.
4.3, that's kind of, my head goes into one of those two areas, and being, my nickname is Six Fan. I feel like that'd be good for the channel to do.
I'm just saying that there was a little truck that had a turbo 4.3 that was one of the fastest production vehicles for a long time. So, I mean, I'm saying
it would definitely do the job. It would get there for sure.
But the 4200, after I've seen Nivlac's Datsun at No Name, I'm like, I am definitely going to do a turbo 4200 at some point. They're everywhere. They're cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, you got all these Trailblazers in the junkyard because the transmission went out of it, but the motor's still good. I've never actually seen the motor go bad in one.
Didn't he just mess up the transmission, I think?
Yeah, he keeps killing the Turbo 400. But
yeah, well, billet, lots of billet. Dudes with wrenches says he has a 292 straight 6.
Yeah, well, I want an aluminum straight six. So.
That 292 is a huge inline six. I had a Chevy pickup with one in it.
Well, I mean, the Grand Prix's got room in there, you know. It's just... what did it say? Front diff from a 90s S10, make it all-wheel drive, 4.3 turbo. Now you're talking. This is my kind of stuff right here. I like taking bad ideas and making them happen.
What's that? That guy's got. There's a guy on YouTube that's got I think it's a Cutlass. It's all-wheel drive. It's got a twin turbo LS.
Right. Yes, he does.
That thing is stupid, and I want one.
And what has he got? Like a Trailblazer drivetrain.
Yeah.
So it's going to explode if it's not all billet. So it's just
completely
you spin
insane.
it until it breaks, right? That's the idea. All right. Well, hey, we're getting to the point. I got to start some trivia, so stand by, guys, and we'll do that. All right. As always, guys, we have Pontiac Trivia sponsored by Super Clean, and Grant's going to send me his address, and Super Clean is going to send you out a prize pack for being our guest today. So thank you for that. And
that works out good for me because I'm about done with the stuff they sent me like last year. So
there you go. See, you'll have a whole new box of stuff to play with. And you guys in the chat, remember, we're going to put some questions and answers up on the board, and we want to see what you guys think. Now, we've already kind of debated some of the stuff that's in the trivia, so make sure you're paying attention. Let's see. All right. So what year of the 5th generation Pontiac Grand Prix had a horizontal crosshatch style grille? Was it A, 1978, B, 1979, C, 1980, or D, 1985? I think Grant might know this one. If you were watching the Straight Six Fan channel, you would know the answer.
Look at I had an 84 Grand Prix that had T-tops, but I don't remember what the grill looked like.
If I had to guess, it was a horizontal or a vertical, I mean.
Yeah, I'm thinking so. I don't.
All right, we've got all kinds of answers. We got B, a lot of B's. 38 POS says 1980.
A lot of bees up in here.
A lot of bees. It's a beehive. Colleen and Doug say 1980. Danny Boyd says 78 or 79. Dakota's Timeout and Testus say 1978. Mohawk with the 1985. Fox Can Fix It says 1988, which wasn't an option. And Danny Boyd says not D. Okay. Well, let's see what the answer is. Grant, what's the answer?
B, 1979.
I learned that watching your channel.
I honestly don't know what an 80 is. I know a 78 was vertical and a 79 was horizontal, but I don't know what
80 was horizontal as well.
Okay, yeah. So
I looked it up before I put it in there.
So technically, somebody said B or C, so they were right. So
man, those Kragers with white letter tires is taking me back to high school, dude.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff right there.
Are they Cooper Cobras? Yes, of course they are.
Yeah.
The number one, the number one letters out.
Yep.
That's what's on the Fiero in my garage. It's got white letter Cooper Cobras on
it. You can hop a Coke can in the parking lot with your Cooper Cobras. All right, guys. So what GM product shares the 5th generation A body? We know it looks like a G body, but it's an A body platform with the Grand Prix. Only the 5th generation. The A, Buick Grand National. B, Chevrolet Monte Carlo SS Aero Coupe. C, the Oldsmobile 442. Or D, the Chevrolet Camaro. Look at these guys. Monte Carlo, Monte Carlo, Monte Carlo. I think the key here is Aero Coupe. Oh, what did he just say? We pulled the 455 that's now my Trans Am out of a late 70s, 80s Grand Prix. Cool. There we go. We got some C's on the board. Danny Boyd says Oldsmobile. That's a win for C. Jason says Aero Coupe. Cousin Mike's got Aero Coupe. Doug, Mohawk 38. They're all Aero Coupe.
I think Doug really wants B.
I think so. And here's the trick of the question. And we talked about it briefly earlier in the show. There was that couple of years that Grand Prix was considered an A body, not a G body. We know it looks the same, but that's where the trick of this answer is. And it is C, Oldsmobile 442. The old slant back on it. That's just a sexy car right there.
Nice.
She's a beaut, Clark.
Yeah, she is. The wheels are interesting.
If you would have put Buick or the Buick T-type, it would have been right, because the 77 T-type or 78 T-type would have been the same.
But I didn't, so there. I actually did a lot of research to make sure I didn't step my own, toes on this one. And I really narrowed it down to, okay, it really can only be this car.
God, get that thing off there. Thank you.
So due to CAFE regulations, what was the base model engine 78 Pontiac Grand Prix base models? Was it the A 301 V8, B the 305 V8, C a 252 V6, or D a 231 V6?
I think I know.
One of them four-door cutlasses.
There's a baby blue one that runs around town, one of those.
Jay's quick in the chat with a 231. Mr. Polo C4, the same old car guy. Yes, Mongrels. It was a little bit of a trick, but I did talk about it earlier in the show and try to give it away.
It was not a concept car, so
it was not. It is not E. Sorry, Nathan. Wow, we've got a lot of D's in the chat.
D's. Oh,
we got a C 252, another 252. It was a Buick motor.
I do know one factoid that would quickly eliminate one of these answers whenever you.
And what? Yeah, go for it.
So for 1978, the 305 was not an option at all.
There you go, guys.
Any of the cars. So
he's knocked her down to 3. Mongrel says A. Well, maybe in Canada it was A. I don't know. Hunter says no concepts. No promises, Hunter. The answer is actually D, the 231 V6, which was the base model engine for the base model car. You could, in some places, get a different engine. But basically, they were trying to, show that they were trying, economical and better fuel mileage. I don't know that they actually achieved their goal, but they did put a smaller engine in the car.
And it had more power than the 301. I'm just saying, I've had both.
I wonder how that would do with a little turbo on it.
Well,
so what I understand, there really is no difference other than like the oiling route, right, for a turbo between the non-turbo 231 Buick and the what made them be able to handle so much boost is they're just thick-walled casted blocks, like they're pretty stout blocks. So I think you could, little Phytech and a turbocharger, and I think that would be in a lot of ways. I think I would rather have that than the 301.
Yeah.
The early T-types had a draw-through 4-barrel carburetor on the turbo setup, kind of like the 301 turbo, but they actually ran good.
Wow, you guys are just hating on the 301. I love it. That's great.
I've had a couple of them, and they suck.
Yeah, that's the way I describe it to people. Is the only thing the 301 does is it sucks air. That's it.
Okay, so with that, what was the top speed of the 1979 Buick 231 V6 when equipped in a Pontiac Grand Prix? Was it A, 96 miles per hour, B, 101 miles per hour, C, 109 miles per hour, or D, 88 miles per hour? So fast you're going back in time.
Well, how did they know? Because the speedometer only went to 85 in them.
Somebody got out a stopwatch because I pulled up the data. Actually, it was I think it was not Motor Trend, but one of those car magazine tests.
I'm gonna go with B. I'm just guessing.
Okay. Hunter says D because 88 miles per hour. Colleen says 96. Mongrels has got 101. Jason's got 101. Nathan said, didn't everyone have an 85? Yeah, pretty much. But they did run a test to see what it would do. No, it does not run on regular unleaded fuel. It runs on plutonium. Whoa, what is this?
Unless you upgraded to the Mr. Fusion 2000
Yes.
Miller Lite can of banana peel and
just drop it in and you're good to go. Because where we're going, we don't need roads.
just pit vipers.
Man, those things are expensive. That's right. We all love Back to the Future. I mean, John DeLorean. Who doesn't? It's a Pontiac show.
It's Pontiac Power Hour.
Yep.
I'm just gonna say that if Back to the Future hadn't happened, I don't think the DeLorean would be as popular as it is.
That is exactly true.
Ever see that show that Rutledge Wood had for a while? I forget what it was called, like Lost in Transmission. It was like, I think it only went one season or something. Like, I found it on one of my streaming services, had like archived History Channel stuff. I think it was on History Channel anyway. So he would like restore cars for people. I think there were only like 8 episodes, and a DeLorean was one of them. He took it to like Atlanta Motor Speedway to see if it could actually hit 88 miles an hour first, and it took him like 4 laps to get there.
They're turds. That Bosch fuel injection on those cars is its major weak point.
That Renault V6 or whatever that thing is was
pretty crappy. Yep. All right, so let's see what the real answer is on the 231 V6. It was 96 miles per hour. So if you guessed A, you were correct. And I'm just digging the green, man. That is, woo. She's pretty.
That is a lot of green, man.
Even Kermit would be uncomfortable in that thing.
That's the kind of car that you need, Karen the Cougar just sitting next to you while you're driving on the road.
I just feel like it needs some gold Hunter spoke 13-inch Daytons on it.
And if you put the little dangle ball things from around the roof, that'd be cool.
Chain steering wheel.
Yes, now we're talking.
I'm just going to tell you guys that I have a dream of having a freaking G body on hydros now, because I've been seeing all these ones on TikTok and YouTube. There's a guy doing donuts in a parking lot on 3-wheel. I was like,
yeah.
Okay, I kind of need that.
So I will tell you, I can 3-wheel with the air ride. It's not as cool as hydros, but I can 3-wheel with the air ride.
That's almost one of the reasons why I don't want to put wheels and tires on my Grand Prix before I sell it, because I figure someone might want to turn it into a donk, someone might want to lowrider it, someone might want to pro touring it. So it's like, let it be a blank slate for the next person.
There you go.
Pretty
Save
much.
you money.
Yeah, you do got to have the purple feather if you're going to drive that car.
Oh, for sure.
Mandatory. All right. That's all we got for the trivia today, guys. Thanks for joining in and into the chat. We thank Super Clean for sponsoring, and we will get your prize pack out to you, Grant, just as soon as I get your address. But
you can get that little 301 cleaned up, man.
Actually, I do need to detail the engine bay, because even though it leaks only 3 of the 4 major fluids, I figure if I at least give it a good degrease, that'll help someone's impression before they buy it.
All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and drop your link in the chat one more time. Make sure everybody's got it. If you haven't checked out Grant and Straight Six Fan channel, head over there, give it a look. If you stick around a little bit, we'll be headed over to Irish Outlaw Garage for his Cars and Cussin' Live that comes up after our show. And Grant, do you have anything you want to plug while you're here?
No, not really. I just want to say thanks to both of you for letting me join tonight and be part of this. And I saw, I think there are at least 3 different people said they were subscribing, so that's always nice to pick up new followers. So I much appreciated the Pontiac Power Hour with you two.
Absolutely. We are thankful to have you. I've been trying to connect with you for a while now. And I mean, we're like 45 minutes from each other. So we're going to make this happen. You guys are going to see a collaboration soon because I'm going to basically show up at his house, just like I did Ray. I just showed up at his house and now we have a show. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. Ray, do you have anything to add?
Oh,
Nope.
yeah. I am supposed to plug the car guy and 6-fan show. I guess that'd be smart. Jason's.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, so we've moved it to it's 1 episode a month. It's the 3rd Thursday of every month. It is on my channel this this month, so that's the 16th of February, so 2 weeks from today. And we have UMI Performance coming on. That's who the
Sweet.
manufacturer we're highlighting. So
Awesome. And you guys are Thursday, but at 7, right?
correct.
Okay.
Are you having
So-
Ryan on, or who are you having on?
Gosh, he had a unique name that it wasn't Ryan.
I said Ryan Kirkwood's the owner. I know him.
And it was the Central States
Automotive YouTubers.
There you go. That's the group, 38 POS Racing. All right, guys, we're going to head out for this week. Come back next week to Punisher Le Mans Garage channel. We've got a special guest coming next week as well, and we will see you guys there.
Have a good night, everybody. Good week.